in advance of this interview, I was thinking, I went back and looked at when Mark Andreessen wrote that blog post, Why Software is Eating the World. It was August of 2011, and his point at the time was that everybody was still shaken from pets.com, but these new batch of companies were going to be high growth, high margin, and highly defensible. And it sort of sounds like that's where we are now.
Yeah, I think the past decade has been a prolific time for technology companies. And when you look at what we're set up for the next decade, it's good to pause just right now to see what's happened during the pandemic. I think you've seen that software is just an integral part of the global economy. And during the pandemic, I think we found that we couldn't go through pandemic without the tools that we have. I think Stanford research shows that just in the month of May, over 2/3 of US GDP was created in our homes alone. So that's just incredible. And these trends of moving to the cloud, more software are just persisting. So I think the next decade, looking ahead, is going to be the software decade.
The acceleration you talk about obviously makes sense for, I'm sure, all of our viewers. But is the Valley at this point trying to price in what happens post-vaccine? I mean, how sticky do we think these behaviors are actually going to be?
Yeah, I think when we take a step back, we look at how these companies are set up for the next 10 years. And it's easy to get focused on, what might happen in the short run. But these trends are so powerful that they're going to power these companies and the adoption for several years. And it's true that the pandemic has accelerated and pulled forward a lot of that demand. But I think a lot of the trends and behaviors you're going to see are going to persist. For example, I'm talking to you over Zoom, and I think that's just changed the way that we're going to work. And we can see a lot of examples of how that's going to persist over the long run.
Kevin, what does software look like over the next decade or so? There's a lot of buzz in Silicon Valley about this low-code, no-code movement, which essentially gives companies the ability to develop software or programs without a lot or any knowledge of coding. Does that change the landscape? Are we going to start to see companies come out and say that they're software companies, sort of like we saw companies say they were tech companies, even though they maybe weren't? A primary example could be WeWork of that.
Yeah, software itself is being completely transformed. And if what you saw over the past decade was exciting, I'm even more excited about the next decade. And what you have to understand is cloud has completely changed the way that software is built and run. And as we know, because businesses are digitally transforming, software, they themselves are building and running more software. But when you think about how to do that, cloud has changed that. Historically, you always had to decide better, faster, cheaper. You could only pick one or two of them. Now you can do all three. So when you take a Snowflake, for example, you used to have to manage a cloud data warehouse, and that was a lot of work for your database experts. You don't have to do any of that. Snowflake will manage all of that for you.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.